Hey folks, today we're getting basted with our Tipsy Tom Turkey Brine and Rub Kit. The key to a juicy turkey for the holidays is using a wet brine. A brine is a seasoning process in which we're going to soak our poultry in water that is seasoned with salts, sugars, and herbs. This is going to start breaking down the meat for tenderization. It's going to help retain moisture as well as season the meat. Now, the difference between cooking it plain and rubbed versus putting it in the wet brine is that it's going to infuse a lot more flavor and start working on that meat to tenderize it. You're going to want to plan ahead because the brining process does take 12 to 24 hours. Today we're going to be using our Tipsy Tom Brine and Rub Kit. Included in each kit is going to be the brine, which we're going to add to our water, a brine bag in which the turkey is going to sit and marinate, as well as our Cock-a-Doodle Brew seasoning. This is a mixture of honey, beer, salt, sugar, things like that that are going to be added as a rub when we're ready to bake our turkey. Now this brine I'm going to show you can be the difference between a really flavorful, juicy turkey and a really dry, lackluster flavored bird. It can be the difference between Thanksgiving and no Thanksgiving. In my stock pot I have 1 quart of water or 4 cups. I'm going to bring it to a boil and that's when we'll be ready to add our seasoning. We're going to dissolve that before cooling it down for our brine. The Tipsy Tom Brine Kit is set up for a turkey size between 12 and 18 pounds. Today we are going to be working with that full size 18-pound bird. The water has come to boil, so we're going to add our seasoning packet and dissolve. I'm going to stir it a little bit to help those salts and sugars dissolve. And at this point you're really going to be able to see all those fresh herbs. There's a little bit of orange peel in here too. Once you return to a boil, we're going to lower the heat to a simmer and let that go for about 5 minutes. And at this point you can really see all those herbs and peppercorns that are really going to add a lot of flavor to our turkey. We're going to start cooling down our brine with some cold water. We want the brine to be very cold before adding it to our bird because if it's above 40 degrees we can run into some food safety issues. At this point we're also going to add some beer. This is really going to complement the ale flavoring in our Cock-a-Doodle Brew that's going to go on the bird tomorrow. And if this is something you don't want to add to the recipe, that's fine, just omit it. In preparation for our brine, I have removed the giblets and the turkey neck. This has been thawing for about 3 days in the fridge, so it is down to about 35, 34 degrees, which is the perfect temperature for brining. I'm going to get our brine bag ready. This does have a square bottom, so you can open it up. Now there's no glamorous way to do this, so you just got to get in there. Oh, that's a big boy. And once it's in the brine bag, we're going to move it so it's going to sit breast side down. And the reason we want to do that is that's where the white meat is. White meat tends to be a little drier than dark meat, so we really want to make sure that that sits in the brine over the thighs. I've poured our brine into a pitcher just so it's a little easier for me to get in the bag. Again, this brine kit is made for a turkey 12 to 18 pounds, so we've maxed it out with the size of the bird that we have today. You want to make sure it's really sealed just so we don't have any leakage. This is an 18-pound turkey, so we are going to brine it for 18 hours. A good rule of thumb when doing a brine for poultry is about an hour per pound. Our turkey's been in the brine for 18 hours at this point, so now we're going to take it out, give it a good rinse before we rub it with our Cock-a-Doodle Brew rub, and get it in the oven. We rinsed off our brine and now we have to dry the bird. All we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of paper towel and pat it dry. The reason we're going to do that is all that moisture from the brine got into the meat, but it also got into the skin. The skin in the baking process is going to dry out a little bit and get that really nice flavorful crispiness that we're looking for. But at this point it has too much moisture to do that. So it doesn't have to be too intense, but you can see as soon as I pat this dry it gets a little tackier and a little smoother, and that's what we're looking for. Now it's time to add our Cock-a-Doodle Brew rub. And I'm going to start on the underside of the bird where the thighs and kind of the wings are going to be at the top. And that's just because I want to get that side seasoned. I'm going to flip it and then season the top of the bird. So we're going to pull out the wings and season those first. Kind of just give it a tap, make sure that rub sticks a little bit. We're gonna flip the bird and do the same thing for the other side. All seasoned, and we're just about ready for the oven. All we have to do is put it in the roasting pan, but first we're gonna tie up and get our bird ready for the oven. Now there's a few ways you can do this. What we're going to do is we're gonna tuck the wings over here, and then on the other side what you can do is you can tie the legs together, but we have enough skin here where we're gonna be able to tuck the legs under and we're not gonna have to use any butcher's twine. To do this, we take this extra skin that's under here, and a lot of times when you unpackage the turkey, you'll see how the legs are tucked in there. Just repeat that process, but if not, you take the legs, put them together, take this piece of skin, just push the legs through, and fold it down. And on this side, we're just gonna tuck those wings under the bird. Like that. I'm gonna put a little bit of chicken stock and white wine in the bottom of our roasting pan, and then we're going right in the oven. Our oven is set to 350 degrees, and a good rule of thumb for cooking a turkey is about 13 to 15 minutes per pound. So this big guy is gonna take us almost 4.5 hours, but we are gonna start checking the temperature after about 3. Our turkey was in the oven for just over 4 hours, and we waited until we hit an internal temperature on the breast of 165 degrees, and it was about 172 by the joints in the legs. At this point, we're ready to rest it. Resting your meat is always a very important part of the cooking process, and it's just the same with your Thanksgiving turkey. So we're gonna take this out and set it on a different tray, like that, and we're gonna put a foil tent over this so it can rest. And all these drippings here, we're gonna use for our gravy. And we're gonna use this tent here just to keep those temperatures inside a little more consistent. Now that we've rested, we're ready to carve, but before that you can see the coloration of the skin. It's gonna be nice and flavorful and crispy, and once you get into that turkey, it's gonna be moist, it's gonna be flavorful, and it's really gonna change your holiday scene. For this recipe, for our Tipsy Tom Turkey Brine and Rub Kit, head to psseasoning.com, and until next time, thanks for watching.